In this video, I'm going to look at using the Consolidate command in the Data tab to summarize um, numerical information in an Excel worksheet. And so before we begin actually using the command, there's a couple things that you need to remember if you're going to use Consolidate or if you're going to use a 3D reference to summarize data from many worksheets into one worksheet. And that is, you need to have your worksheet set up exactly the same. So the same item needs to be in the same cell on each worksheet. For example, in this particular worksheet, you have the week 1 column and the Boston row. Week 1 is in column B and Boston is in row 6 or in cell A6. So in order for this to work correctly, you're going to have Boston in the A6 position on all of the worksheets. You're going to have week 1 in column B in all of the worksheets. Okay. So, to begin with, I'm going to go ahead and select cell B6 through E9, and then I'm going to come up here to the ribbon and click on the Data tab, and in the Data Tools group you'll find the Consolidate command, and I'm going to click on that. So in the Consolidate dialog box, you first of all have a list box which allows you to choose which function you want to use to summarize the data. And I'm just going to leave it on sum. And then I'm going to add my references. So I'm going to click in the reference box here. And the first group of data that I want to bring into the summary is the information in cells B6 through E9 on the January worksheet. So you can see that I've selected that. Then I click Add, and I'm going to go ahead and click on the February worksheet, and you'll notice that it remembers the cell range. From my first choice, it just changes the sheet name, so I can go ahead and just click Add. And then I want to add the March information, and again it remembers, so I'm going to click Add. Once I've added all of these ranges that I want to summarize, I can then click OK. And so it has added together or summed all of the week 1 totals from January, February, and March for Boston here, and for all of the other locations and weeks. Now the particular consolidation that we just did is a static consolidation, and what that means is if I change the underlying data, if I change something on one of the worksheets, the information on the quarter 1 worksheet here will not change, and I'll demonstrate that. So you can see that for week 1 for Boston, the total is 41,200. So I'm going to go back to the January worksheet to week 1, and I'm going to change that amount to 100,000, which should in turn change the total on the quarter 1 worksheet, but as you can see it does not. So this is a static consolidation, one that does not update when you change the underlying data. So I'm going to undo that change, and then I'm going to go over to the first quarter worksheet, and I'm going to, or the first quarter 2 worksheet, And I'm going to create a dynamic consolidation, one that will change and update as I change the underlying information. So once again, I'm going to start out by selecting B6 through E9, and then I'm going to click Consolidate, and I'm going to go ahead and leave it as a sum, and I'm going to select my January information. And actually, if you are doing this all in one sitting, you wouldn't have to recreate the references. They would still be there, but I closed my workbook and reopened it, and that's why I'm having to recreate my ranges. But that's fairly easy to do, as you remember from our first consolidation. So I've added all of the ranges that I want to consolidate. This time, before I click OK, I'm going to click here next to Create Links to Source Data. And then I'm going to click OK. And once again, it gives me those totals. But now I also have the levels in addition. So if I go to level 2, it actually will show me the underlying data from the different worksheets all in one here. So here's all the information for January, for March, and so forth. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and collapse these. And I'm going to go back to the January worksheet again and change the amount in cell B6 to 100,000. And then we'll take a look at our first quarter 2 worksheet, and you can see that this time, because we're using a dynamic consolidation, it updated that amount in that cell. So consolidation, the consolidation command is another quick way to summarize data from more than one worksheet, in addition to using 3D references.